What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Paddock, and today we are going to talk about the 3 biggest gear mistakes. My inbox and comments are filled with people asking me questions about gear. Everything from tip size opening to reed strength to mouthpiece type and everything else in between. So today I am going to tell you the 3 biggest mistakes to avoid when picking out your gear. Before we start talking about gear, if you enjoy my content, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. All right, let's talk about the 3 biggest gear mistakes. Now, these are not in any certain order. These are all really big mistakes. So one is not bigger than the other. The first is using gear that is not meant for your playing level. Using gear that is not meant for your playing level. And that mostly has to do with mouthpieces and reed size. So when you are starting off, you want a mouthpiece that's just user-friendly, kind of general, run-of-the-mill, sounds good pretty much no matter how you put the air through the saxophone. That's what you're looking for until you get into your late intermediate sound, when you really know how to control your air and you know how to move the air faster and slower and get it in a tight airstream, and you really know the sound that you're looking for. So the reason for this is the super high-end professional mouthpieces are built for a very specific job. And if you don't know how to control your air to make the mouthpiece speak in that very specific way, it's not gonna sound good. So you wanna make sure that you are getting a mouthpiece that is suited for your playing level. Now, when it comes to reeds, they're not like super high-end professional reeds. Reeds are kind of reeds. There are some that are better than others and some that people prefer way more than others. So it all comes down to reed strength. Now, when you're a beginner, you might think that size 3 or a size 3.5 means that you're a better saxophone player than if you use a 2.5 or a 2.25. And that's just not true. Reed strength has a lot to do with the rest of your equipment and the way you're putting air through the saxophone and of course the sound that you want. But when you are a beginner or an early intermediate saxophone player, you should be using a softer reed. I have my students start on a 2.25 Legere Signature, or if you're playing a cane reed, maybe start on a 2.5. Just something that's a lot more user-friendly. So you haven't really developed the embouchure muscles yet, so you're gonna want a reed that vibrates a little bit easier. So you don't wanna start off with a 3 or definitely a 3.5 or something like that. Start off with a 2.5 or a 2.25, see how it feels, and don't move away from that unless you feel like you're not getting the sound that you want or you feel like the reed is giving out on you. I use a 2.25 Legere Signature on my alto and a 3.25 on my tenor when I'm playing concerts. So there's a huge range in there, and that's all dependent on the gear that I'm using. So one size isn't better than the other. The second really big mistake is buying gear thinking that it's gonna make you sound like someone else. It will not make you sound like someone else. It will give you some characteristics that they have, but it will not make you sound like them. So if you buy my mouthpiece gives you a bright, powerful sound. If you're able to control my mouthpiece, if you're a solid intermediate, early advanced saxophone player and you're able to control this mouthpiece and you play it, you will get a brighter and more powerful sound. But it won't sound like my brighter or more powerful sound because there are 3 main things that go into the way someone sounds. If you really, really boil it down. One is their gear. And that's the least important when it comes to sound. It's the most important when it comes to really perfecting your sound, but it's the least important when it comes to just a general sound. So the most important is the way you put air through the saxophone. So if I pick up my saxophone, I'm gonna sound like me. If I pick up someone else's saxophone with their mouthpiece and their reed, I'm gonna sound like me. Maybe a little different version of me, but no matter what I play, I'm gonna sound like me. The third thing, and this is a really broad category, is the language that you use. So the language meaning your dynamics, your articulations, the notes you play, what style you play with, all that kind of stuff. We'll put that all in one category of language. And then of course you have your air, and then last is your gear. Now, like I said, if you want to sound like me and you get a bright, powerful mouthpiece, you're gonna be in that category. But to sound just like me, you're gonna have to move the air the same as me. And you're gonna have to phrase and articulate close to the way I articulate. So don't think that just buying the exact same gear as another saxophone player is gonna make you sound like that saxophone player. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy the same gear as a saxophone player that you really like their sound. that might help you get closer to it. I'm just telling you that when you buy that new mouthpiece, it's not going to make you sound exactly like that saxophone player. So don't get it and be like, oh, I thought it was going to make me sound like saxophone player XYZ, and it didn't. That's because there's a lot of other things that go into the sound. And the last big mistake that we're going to talk about is changing your gear all the time. Changing your gear all the time. This happens with a lot of my students. When I first get them, they come in and they have 3 or 4 different mouthpieces, 2 or 3 different kinds of reeds, a couple different ligatures, all kinds of stuff. And one week they play on this mouthpiece, and the next week they play on the next mouthpiece, and then they use this size reed, and then this kind of reed, and then the ligature changes. The more often you change your gear, the harder it's going to be to find your sound and to get a really good sound. Because every time you change something, you're changing one of the variables. If you change your reed strength, everything's going to feel different. If you change your mouthpiece, everything's going to feel different. If you're constantly changing things, you're never going to figure out how to get the air through your saxophone and get a really good solid tone. So what I tell my students to do is spend a week or 2, find your favorite combination. Find your favorite combination of reed, ligature, and mouthpiece, and then commit to it for at least 6 months. Play that for 6 months. And then after 6 months, if you decide you want to make a change, feel free to tweak it for a little bit. Take 2 or 3 weeks, tweak it, and then commit to that setup for 6 months. You need to commit to your setup if you want to get a really good sound. If you're constantly changing your gear, you're never going to be able to really develop your sound because you're not going to be able to control your air because you're always changing variables. So pick what you like and commit to it. And those are the 3 biggest gear mistakes. Number 1, don't try to buy super pro gear if you're still trying to figure out how to get the air through the saxophone. You shouldn't be going on to the super pro gear until you're solid, intermediate, or early advanced. Second, no matter what gear you buy, it's not going to make you sound like somebody else. It might put you in the same realm or the same category, but if you want to sound like someone else, which I always tell people they should try to sound like themselves, but if there's a saxophone player and you love their sound, study their articulation, study their dynamics, study the notes they play, where they play in time, like on the beat, behind the beat, all that kind of stuff. And try to figure out what they're doing to get their sound. What are they doing with their air? Is their air moving really fast? Is it slower? Is it spread out? Is it focused? Think about what their breath stream is, then try and pair that with your equipment and the language that they're using. And third, commit to your gear. If you're constantly changing the variables, meaning your reed, your ligature, your mouthpiece, you're never going to be able to figure out